Hello everyone and welcome to another video by Centipede Geek. In this video I'll be talking about my thoughts so far on the AMC television series by the name of The Walking Dead. I'll be talking about the first 3 episodes in full or to the best of my ability, and then I'll kind of talk about my thoughts on theories and where the show might go and characters I like and stuff like that. When it comes to The Walking Dead, I was one of those late bloomers. I didn't get into the show till just recently. I always knew about the show. I always knew that it was one of those critically acclaimed shows that people liked, and that some people thought the show sort of dwindled in quality as it came down to the later seasons. They liked the earlier stuff, and then later on throughout the seasons they liked it less. And I was like, you know what? It's time that I, instead of listening to other people's opinions, dive into it myself and see what I think. And sometimes I think you have to do that. So I watched it all on Netflix recently, and I really enjoyed the show. There wasn't nothing that I didn't like about it. I liked each and every episode. It was obviously there were certain episodes I liked more, but overall I really enjoyed it. And the first episode of season 11, they have Acreon, and forgive me if I pronounce these wrong. You have Acreon Part 1 and Acreon Part 2. And then the third episode, titled Hunted, airs September 5th of 2021. I have seen the first 3 episodes. And overall, I really enjoy where the series is going. Walking Dead is one of those shows that not really so much similar to other shows where it really has a lot of characters. A lot of shows sometimes only have 3 or 4 that it really focuses on. Walking Dead's not like that. It's got a lot of characters, a lot of different stories going on. You've got Michonne over here doing this. We haven't even seen her yet this season. We still have Rick Grimes, in the helicopter. We haven't seen him in a season or 2. So where is he at? What's he been doing? Where has he been at these 8 or 9 years of the gap since we've seen him last? Mainly what these first 3 episodes focus on is Maggie and Negan and the sort of growing, in my opinion, sort of a growing mutual trust between these two. Obviously, these two have always been at odds because of the death of Glenn and the death of Abraham, but more so the death of Glenn, her husband or boyfriend or whatever you want to call him. They were together, Negan killed him, and now because of that, there's always this sort of hatred between the two of them. And it seems as if, for the most part, that Negan has changed. He's not the same Negan that was in charge of the Saviors, but Maggie still holds this against him, and in my opinion, she's rightly just in doing so. She tells him in the subway tunnel, she says, hey, maybe I did drag you out here. She holds the gun to his head, every, waking moment of my life, I think about shooting you, but I have yet to do so, and she tells him keep pushing him. Anyways, it's a great scene, and these first 3 episodes are really well done. Another thing I like is what they do with the Daryl as he's looking for his dog, sort of in the second or third episode. He's looking for his dog throughout the tunnel, and he shines his flashlight on these murals throughout the subway tunnel, and they show like a past life or like some past things about what used to exist in society before the apocalypse and before the zombies came. They see kind of the different ranks of class system. They see the rich. They see the poor. There's some sort of story that happened in the subway tunnel where there was a man with money in the suitcase, and it was really neat that after each episode, you had the producers and the creators of the show talk about behind the scenes and the different stories they wanted to create with Daryl, and that was really cool seeing those behind the scenes. I really enjoyed seeing that. I'm really curious to see where they're going to go with Negan and Maggie. I'm wondering if at some point Negan will be almost like a sacrificial lamb to Maggie, and even though he left her to die at the subway train and let her, get about her own wits and get back in the train door herself, I'm wondering if there was a great scene where she gave him a gun because they know they both had a common bond or a common mission of taking the zombies out, and then once the zombies are all dead, towards the end of that episode, Negan gives the gun back. So in my opinion, that passing of the torch, for lack of a better word, that passing of the gun back and forth between the characters of Negan and Maggie, to me shows that there's some sort of, as I said earlier, some sort of mutual trust growing between them. I'm really curious to see where that's going to go. I'm curious to see which characters are going to live and going to die. The Walking Dead is one of those shows that is not shy in killing off characters. They'll kill off your favorites in the blink of an eye. No, there's no one that's safe, in my opinion. The only characters that might be would be like Carol and Daryl, and the only reason I say that is because they've announced a spinoff, so I would think that those two would live. But everybody else, Maggie, Negan, Alden's in an interesting situation because he was left inside of a church. I don't see Maggie and them wasting. Don't want to say they're wasting ammo, but in a sense, they're wasting ammo and they're wasting their time to go back to somebody who could be lying dead or could be already be a zombie in the middle of a church. I don't see them doing that. I see him dying. It seems that he might be sort of our first big death of the show. We already had a death earlier in the subway train. It was more of a minor character, but if Alden dies, that'll be almost like kind of like the first big death of the season. Overall, I've really liked it. Some of the things I'm most curious about, I'm curious about the Commonwealth, because not only do we have Negan and Maggie going on, we also have the Commonwealth story, and we have the character of Stephanie. She was introduced at the end of episode 3, and now we have to see, do we really think that's Stephanie? Is that the same voice we heard on the radio that Eugene talked to? And for some reason, maybe it could be Stephanie, maybe it's not Stephanie. Either way, I don't trust the Commonwealth. I don't trust them at all. In my opinion, what's going to end up happening is they had to get the trust of the Commonwealth to be brought into their society so they can meet Stephanie. But it seems as if once they meet Stephanie, I think there's going to come a time where they're going to have to escape from the Commonwealth, and the Commonwealth's not going to let them leave. That's my theory, so hold me to it. Discuss on the comment board below what's your guys' theories of the Commonwealth on, whether or not we should trust them. And I'm not sure how similar it'll be to the comics. I own a good chunk of the graphic novel or comics, but I don't. But I haven't read much of them recently, so I don't know how similar it is to the story or anything like that. But I'm also wondering about Eugene. Eugene's one of those characters that he does lie, and he can lie very well. The whole reason he's in this story is because he lied to Abraham about some, far-fetched mission to D.C. where he had to go to the White House because he had the cure to the zombies, and then he ended up, going behind Negan's back with all those guns, and all those guns backfired. And it seems as here we are again, that maybe Eugene has lied. It seems to me it seems his story is true. He says he's a virgin. He says all these things. Maybe he has all these stuff in common with Stephanie. But Eugene has lied a lot in the past for his own good, for his own survival, for other people's survival. So I wouldn't put it past Eugene whenever he lied about the mission, about the cure, and then he lied about the guns right to Negan's face. I wouldn't put it past him to lie again for their survival. So Eugene's in a really interesting spot. So what are some of the characters that I think that might not make it to the end of the season? My favorite characters have always been, I've always enjoyed Carol and Daryl a lot, but I'm sure they'll end up making it. Eugene's an interesting character. I think that his obsession with Stephanie and his sort of, romantic obsession with the Commonwealth and everything that's going on there, I think it's ultimately going to be his downfall, and it's going to end up getting him killed. I think Princess might make it out of this alive. I'm not really sure. Ezekiel is definitely going to end up passing. I hate to say it, and the only reason I think that is because of the cancer. I believe he has thyroid cancer, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. But if the cancer doesn't eat him alive, then a zombie, I'm sure, will. I'm kind of, like I said earlier, interested to might see what happens between Maggie and Negan. I think, to me, Negan's going to end up being a sacrificial lamb or a martyr of some kind, where at the end, Maggie ends up, really trusting in the guy, but right when she trusts him, he'll end up passing. But who knows, right? The first 8 episodes, it's going to have 24 episodes if you guys didn't know. The first 8 episodes will air from August to the 10th of October, according to what I'm looking at here on my source. And it'll probably come back maybe later on this year or early next year. But the show won't actually end all of its 24 episodes till next year. So we still have a lot of The Walking Dead. And then later on this year in October, I believe, probably right around the time that these first 8 episodes of Season 11 end on AMC, we're going to also have the spinoff of The Walking Dead World Beyond. Season 2, which I just found out will be the final season, will air also in October. And I believe the character of Jade, Miles Fuller coming up. She's in the trailer, I believe. Jade is coming back, but she will be in the world beyond. Don't know if she's in these first 8 episodes or not. Curious to see where Rick's at, too. Has Rick been having, in my opinion, Rick's the sort of character that he would do each and everything he can to get back to Michonne and get back to Alexander and his group. So something physically and mentally would have had to be preventing him from getting back to his group, whether he's getting experiments on him, whether he's trapped in some sort of cell. I have no idea. Is he the same Rick Grimes we knew, 7 or 8 years ago when Alexandria first started, before it was left in chaos and ruins, and that whole thing? I'm also curious about whether or not Alexandria can be the place that Carl dreamt of. He dreamt of like this, almost like a paradise where that them and Negan can all live together. And in my opinion, they haven't reached Carl's expectations yet. And I'm curious to see if at the end of all this, if Alexandria will still be standing. Overall, that's my thoughts and opinions on the show. I tried to cover everything. There's a lot going on in the show and a lot going on in just these 3 episodes alone. Next episode I'll be watching will be episode 4, titled Rendition. It doesn't air until the 12th of September, so I'll try to make an episode in the next couple of weeks that'll sum up the next couple of episodes. But once again, thanks for watching another video by Centipede Geek for my so far review of Season 11 of the show by the name of The Walking Dead on AMC. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe below. Thanks for watching.